Hello and welcome to our panel on called Everything You Never Dare to Ask About Distribution. And today, hopefully, you will dare to ask about distribution. Um, yeah, it's nice to see so many people in one room. Welcome to Clermont-Ferrand. This panel is presented or co-presented by Talking Shorts, which is an online platform for short film criticism. So we're very happy to be here and do this panel. My name is Gaschütz. I'm one of the co-initiators of Talking Shorts, but also the co-director of Filmfest Dresden, a short film festival, and a programmer at the Party di Domani section in Locarno. Just a quick summary maybe of how this will work. We have about an hour. I will talk to our three panelists for about 45, 50 minutes. And at the end, there will be room for questions because I'm sure you have plenty of questions. It's more of an informative session, so I hope you can take a lot of information home with you today. But without further ado, let's come to our panelists. So first of all, we have on my left side and your right side, Ben Vandendaele from Radiator IP Sales.
Hello.
Ben is a distributor, a sales agent, and a producer from Brussels. And you founded two companies, Becker Films Production and Radiator IP Sales, which concentrates on distribution and sales. Your focus is on short films mainly, but you also have a few feature-length films occasionally, and your company actually is partnered up with Torino Short Film Market, for example, Doku Fest, European Short Pitch, and other festivals. Your films have screened in Venice, in Sundance, in Clermont-Ferrand, in Berlin, and Locarno, amongst others. And most recently, you've had 3 premieres in Cannes last year with Parent, When Night Meets Dawn, and Brutalia, Days of Labor. So welcome, and thank you for taking part. We have, you might have noticed, we have a hybrid format today because we have an online guest, who is María Vera from Kino Rebelde. Hello, welcome. And also in that sense, maybe welcome to our online audience. So María Vera is a distributor, sales agent, a producer and curator, currently based in Lisbon, but you are also based in Madrid, Belgrade, Hanoi, and I think around the world. You are the founder of Kino Rebelde, which is a company that focuses on shorts, medium, and feature-length films. And your films have screened in festivals like Berlin, Locarno, Rotterdam, at IDFA, Biennale, amongst other festivals. Some of your clients include Mike Holboom, Lynn Sachs, Andrea Testa, and you've films recently, successful films you've had recently are Playback by Agustina Comedy that premiered at Punta de Vista International Film Festival in Spain and then actually played at over 70 festivals, or more recently, the Argentinian film Café de Cinema that premiered at Kurzfilmtage Oberhausen last year and started its festival run there. So welcome and thanks for joining us from Lisbon.
Thank you.
And last but not least, we have Anaïs Colpin from Manifest, a distribution company based in Paris, in France. You're a distributor, and you used to work at the distribution department of a cinema school, and you also used to work at the short film department in Cannes, but now you're employed only at Manifest, right? Perfect. So you're based in Paris, as I said. Manifest was founded in 2015 by several French production companies, and the goal was to basically combine the different skills of those producers and to combine resources to give the films more visibility and accessibility to the audience. Manifest has over 200 films in their catalog. You work with more than 35 production companies, and your recent successes are Soldat Noir that premiered at Semaine de la Critique in Cannes, and the film Inherent that also premiered at the Semaine de la Critique in Cannes. Welcome to you as well.
Thank you.
So I'm very happy we have this talk today. So I know we're gonna ask questions nobody ever dared to ask apparently, but we're gonna start off with a very easy question. So your 3 companies are all very different. They have different profiles. You distribute different kinds of film. So let's just very briefly, in 3 sentences, please introduce your company again. What kind of films are you generally looking for, and why should filmmakers actually work with you? Maybe we start with you, Anaïs.
Thank you. Okay. How can we say we? Okay. So yeah, as you said at the beginning, we were there was like an issue for the production companies to take care of the festival submission. in their own companies, because the intern and the assistant and everything was taking care of the submission by themselves, and the producers was like, okay, it's not really good handled, some deadline are missing and everything. And I met with some of these producers, and since I was working for a cinema school and for the French department of the Festival de Cannes, I was already aware of all the main festivals, of the programmers, of a bit of the channels and everything. So we said, okay, we will try to mutualize that work. So since the beginning, we are still working with the submission with films. So we are now working with 40 new short films per year. And actually, by talking with that producers, we will also like the main distribution companies were only looking for comedy short films, less than 15 minutes short films, or genre, or I don't know, that kind of short films. So we were like, okay, I think there is something to do with the longer short films, with documentary, or I don't know. So we try to find new way of to give more opportunity to this film to be seen. And that's still our idea, to look for some short film that will have a great career in festivals, but also can have like opportunity for TV channels, VOD platform, or school screening, that kind of stuff too. So
Yeah, thank you. We'll talk about this a bit more in detail later. I'll go to Maria first online, maybe. I hope, Maria. Yes. Hey, same question for you, because you have I think you have quite a different profile to manifest. So please explain.
First of all, thanks. I'm super happy to be there, at least in this way. Well, from Kino Rebelde, it's a very small company. I manage feature, medium, and short films, and I can take around 3 to 5 short films per year. I just work with documentary, experimental, and hybrids. This is like my main focus. And normally what I'm working very hard is in the festival strategy, and then in the alternative exhibitions, museums, galleries, educational circuit. So yes, I mean, it's a very personal line what I have in my company. I mean, because it's me and I'm working with another person since a couple of months, but in general, I have like one line and a kind of topics and contents and forms that I like to support. But short films for me, it's really important, and it's a huge challenge. But yes, this is a little bit about my company.
Thank you very much, and over to Ben.
Yeah, Anna, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much for the nice introduction. I think you said already many things, but maybe which is different, which I specifically maybe do more than others, is try to be involved from the very, very beginning of a project, and then try to, let's say, go along the way, a journey from pitching forums until funding, until premiere, then, and that simultaneously to create, let's say, the marketing strategy, the social media strategy at all. So I think that's a little bit more different between ours. And also, like Maria, I'm alone in the company. I'm starting to work with 2 other people slowly. So it's a bit very personal, and a lot of the filmmakers that I work with are filmmakers that I work with regularly. So it's more like Thanasis Neofotistos is a new film. Manolis Mavris, Katarzyna Gondik. A lot of them are coming. We always work together because I have like the principle: never change a winning team. So yeah, that's about it.
So there's already a lot of information in what you said. So because I think what's really important also, if you're a filmmaker, you probably, first of all, you want to know, I guess, when should I get in touch with you guys to when will you watch a film? Then you said you pick up like 40 films a year. Maria picks up between 3 and 5. I don't know how many you pick up.
10,
10
12.
films. So, but there's a lot of more there are many more films out there. So how many films do you actually watch, and do you also really watch them? And again, what is the best time for you guys to pick up the films? Because if I was a filmmaker, when should I get in touch with you as well?
Yeah, first since we have like a limitation of short film because of the 40 per year, we are trying to have an idea of it from the beginning, to say, okay, we will have, I don't know, 5 or 6 short films for Locarno this year, so the submission are in May or something like that. So we are trying to have, like, I don't know, we will have a lot of short film for Clermont-Ferrand by the end of the year, the same for Cannes. So we are trying to have like a number during all of the year, and try to know a bit about the project at the beginning, but we are trying to watch it at least with the final uh, final version of the films, to really know which short film we will work with. It would be like 15 minutes, or I don't know, that kind of stuff, and trying to talk about them with the programmers before the real, deadline submission and everything. So yeah, and we are also trying to say, okay, I think this film will be great for this festival, and try to sign it first too. So yeah, so it depends. We can watch film all over the year, but it's more easy to start the strategy. We are used to work with a film that already the filmmaker already made some submission and everything, but it's more easy to start from the beginning and say, okay, we will try to begin with main festivals, and after that to have a nice premiere and everything. So yeah, at the beginning, that's great to know a bit about the strategy first.
This goes a bit in the line with what you said, that you like to work with films from the very beginning. But
Yeah,
then you also said that you kind of like to work with the same people. So if I'm a new filmmaker and I want to get in touch, how do I? Because I know you work with a lot of people already. So how do I actually get my film with you when you also only take on like 5 to 10 films a year?
yeah, maybe a small connotation in society is that I'm actually an editor as formation, so there is cases where films come to me and I rather have them then just as a before final cut then, to give some feedback with my head of editor, because it's also the fact that I'm saying 10 films a year, it's relative, because it's not 10 films a year, because if you have 10 films, you never can predict where your film will premiere, so you need to widen your chances and follow the strategy, and the strategy can change all of a sudden, and you need to anticipate that. The fact about that I work with filmmakers before, they will always have priority, but I'm getting on board new filmmakers every year. So there is no limitation in this. So I would not say it's not because I work with them. It's part of the lineup, and it depends. If they move to features, I will probably not be on board. But I try to then make the bridge until they can get the funding for their feature, because that's the step for me, which is important to make that exactly bridge between the two, between the short and the feature. That's why I have some features, but I will stay my focus always on shorts.
But you also have quite an interesting strategy, I think, because you work with several festivals. I don't know, some of you might know, where you hand out an award and then the film that wins will be in your distribution.
Yeah, that makes my work easier because they do the work for me and I just have to choose, and there is the places where that happens is most of the time it's in national competitions, for example, in DocuFest, in the Balkan region. There are a lot of filmmakers with lots of talent that have no idea, and that's an opportunity that to find those specific gems in there, whether it will be in the Balkans or in Cyprus or at Torino. There is many possibilities, and it's just in order to, be the first to be able to choose.
It's interesting. I think it's a very interesting approach because I think it's very unique from what I can see. Maria, you said you have a very personal approach to your films, and you also you handpick them basically. So how do you go about it, or how, if I want to get in touch with you, how do I do it?
Okay, first of all, yes, as my colleagues, I find a super interesting difference when you can plan from the beginning. I mean, when you can plan the strategy and to see the first rough cut, for example, or something like that. But I mean, I receive short films by email. I'm looking for short films. I mean, I have some sections of some festivals that I really like. And I mean, as Ben said, the national competitions, there is an incredible place for me to look for new talents also, and for, new films. But in any case, I'm doing also follow-up of some, I don't know, in some markets that people, they just come to me and they pitch me one idea. And but for me also, it's very important, the connection with the filmmaker and the producer. We are going to work together for almost 5 years, and I really need to connect with them too in a personal level. So yes, it's connection of topics, the form, and the person that is behind the story. I mean, that is telling the story. And also I work with some filmmakers that I have already a nice relation, and I like also to keep working with them. So in the case of Agustina Comedia, as you mentioned, we worked together, her first feature, and then Playback premiered in Mar del Plata, and then in Berlinale Shorts competition, and we made a beautiful career together. And she's a filmmaker that I really want to keep working with her. This is like a kind of a family. And as Ben, I'm also working, little by little with someone that is helping casually, like with the short films, because it is a huge work. We wanted to do it well. Send, to festivals for short. You can send to normal festivals, to this section dedicated to short films, and also to the niche. So looking for platforms, it's a lot of work.
So what I also hear from all of you, and might be a good start for all the filmmakers who may be here in the room. So what's really, really important is the personal connection. So you want to talk to them, you need to get along. I mean, it's also for you for any filmmaker, I think you need to get along with a distributor, otherwise it's not going to work out, I suppose. So let's just say...
I'm sorry,
yeah,
it's totally because it's a matter of trust. Because you need to take decisions and take a leap of faith when others maybe want something else, but you say, no, you need to trust me. And sometimes this goes wrong. Many cases it goes wrong, but yeah, no, so it's very important. Like María, sorry?
Trial and error, I guess, especially at the beginning. I
Otherwise you won't achieve anything. So I just wanted to add that.
No, it's like with everything. I mean, it's the same with festivals. It's the same with many things, even when you work on a film. But so let's say I've backed myself a distributor, and you picked up the film. So what's next? How does it work with the submissions? What does a filmmaker or a producer that is with a distributor get out of it instead of like doing it themselves? The festival submissions. What's the advantage of being with you? Do you want to start, Anaïs?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so when we decide to work with a film, we have like a meeting with the producers and the filmmakers to say, okay, we think about that with the strategy, but we have a conversation during like 1 year, the whole year, because we are always trying to focus the strategy or that kind of festival, that kind of territories. Okay, we had like a lot of selection in, I don't know, a fantastic festival, so maybe we can focus on that and everything. So we are in contact during the whole distribution. But yeah, we are trying to say, okay, we will start with this strategy. So we will start the submission in our office, and we will send the list to the filmmaker each month that he can follow the submission. And we want to be, to talk with them a lot, because to say, okay, I add these short films to this festival last year, so it could be interesting to send a small email again, or to say, okay, my first short film was Bite by Arte, for example, so we trying to work together. Or maybe the producer is in the festival that I will not be there, so we will try to work together on the films. And after that, we are working for 1 year on the festival submissions, and we are taking care of the main category of festival, the category A in France, and all the Oscar qualifying festival. It will depend on the strategy, of course, but we can do that. And after that, all the thematic festivals, and try to get more and more submission after the first selection and everything. And so for the festival, it's 1 year and a half of work, and for the sales is different because it's like the main channels during the first years too, and after that we have like a work with the catalog for I don't know 5 or 7 years if we want. So
Thank you very much. Ben, you want to?
I work in a very similar way, but for me, what is important is to ask the crucial question: what is the goal of the director with the project at that point? Is it another short? Is it a feature? Is it I quit or whatever? That's essential to first start with the strategy, and then it's pretty similar for everybody. You have the list of festivals, a list, blah blah. You submit, and you see where the results come. At the same time, when I was mentioning before, when being involved before, what I try to do is planting seeds with programmers way before something is happening, even when it's in script stage, like there is something new coming, and just on a continuing base, on the right moment, say, here there's maybe a cut you can see, or so it's all about at that moment timing and let's say finding the right moment for the right thing to do at that moment. So.
And Maria, your films, I would say that they often also go a bit away from the normal narrative approach to filmmaking. So I think your films also need maybe a different kind of strategy. How do you work with your filmmakers, and do they actually? What might also be a question for you guys. If I know a lot of filmmakers, they want to start their film at Berlinale or in Cannes or whatever. So, and maybe you might realize it's maybe not exactly the film that is for that festival because you know it better. How do you work with the filmmakers then? Do you still just say, let's submit because you want to do it, or do you kind of try to advise them on what might be a better way for the film?
I always say that our work is to deal with expectations, with time, and money, because definitely it's also you can spend a lot if you are going or trying in the wrong places. So for me, the first thing is to see which kind of project I have, and I encourage filmmakers and producers that they are not working with a sales or distributor to understand which kind of project they have. And yes, for me, every strategy and every film is a universe of possibilities and of challenges. Sometimes I'm getting in love with a film when, I don't know, the circuit is already in process, and that is more difficult, but sometimes I can embrace the film if I like it. Not, I'm working with some films that they have a special niche, like that, that, I don't know, like Playback, for example, we won the Teddy Award. So that you have a film that in the niche of LGBTQ, it's going to be very powerful, but you have the challenge to make a balance between general festivals and the niche. It's like so yes, I'm trying. I'm creating a strategy for each film, and in my case, I don't send reports. The filmmakers can enter to our map that is it's on Drive, and they can see all the festivals where I'm submitting, where the places where when we receive like a fee waiver code to submit, when they reject it, everything. I don't know, we have like WhatsApp groups. It's a very different way, So, and we discuss together every time, like normally, yes. I can talk and I have a fluid connection with them, And it is also important, as Ben said, to see what the filmmaker is doing, or there are some filmmakers that they said, hey, for me, it would be super important to be in this place, or in this festival, or this museum, or I'm dreaming with, okay. And so sometimes you have to try. I'm listening to them, but also I like a GPS, you have to redirect all the time. We don't have a ball, like magic ball, to know where the films. We just know about films, about some programming, some festivals that we like, and at the end, it's just a matter of try. So this is the point. I think I consider myself a cinephile. I mean, I love to watch films and I love to understand programming. So that is my challenge. Mistakes for sure. I mean, the point is that we are working on this, and I don't know, submissions, it's super important to take care of the premieres for sure, but also to understand really which kind of project we have.
I mean, I think you already mentioned something very important, which is also programming. And Ben, you said you plant seeds with programmers even before the film is even made. Question I often encounter as well is, especially from filmmakers who don't have a distributor, do films that have a distributor attached have a better chance of getting into a festival because you guys might know the head of programming, and is that easier?
No, no, totally not. And even more, it's even more difficult because when you achieved some point where you were selected at an A list, the next film that you will submit needs to be at least as good as that one. So that's very simple. There is no favoritism or whatever. It's just at the right moment finding the right place for the film, for the right genre or whatever, and then trying. And if it's in, then it's in. If not, you change strategy.
How about you, Anaïs? Have you got the same?
Yeah, I think that too. Actually, like you say, there is like a lot of short films each year, and to have like a distributor, it's like to have one more person that will take care of it. So it will be like a lot of less stress, to take care of the submission, of the deadlines, of the material and everything. But I think for the main festivals, we are also dealing with the concurrency of the short films. When we are sending the film to Clermont-Ferrand, yes, we are sending like 40 new short films, but we've got 16 selections. So, and we don't know anything about it. And when I speak with programmers, it's like, okay, I will send you that kind of short films. I will have this one. Maybe I can send you first, or it will be nice if you can give me an answer before the final selection. That kind of advices. But after that, when I'm speaking with the programmer, they are watching the film, on the platforms and with the screeners. So I don't know if manifest name is really important at that point or not. So
You also mentioned something very important because you have a lot of films, and I'm also like, I think if several films are with one distributor, do you think that there might also be some sort of competition or rivalry between the films? Because you had 3 films in Cannes, for example, and or do you think there's like a quota at festivals that they say, okay, we're only going to select a certain amount of films from this distributor, even though they have like just submitted 40? Do you think that's an issue, that the films kind of compete with each other?
No, for me, not, because I try not that it's similar films. The nuance is in Cannes, it was in the 3 different sections. So it was in official, Kazan, and Saman, and the films are totally different. Even though, for example, I have 2 Kosovar films, which one played in Locarno, one is fiction, and the one that played in Cannes was documentary, so a hybrid documentary. So it's, even though it's 2 Kosovar films, which is a problem between brackets, it's not a problem because it's different genre.
I'm just asking because I like, I mean, because I do work for a festival and am from the, we do program films, and sometimes we do actually say, okay, we can't just have 6 films from one distributor because, it's like a country quota as well. You really have to kind of find the balance also with film schools. You don't just have, because you're not a representative of film school, but you want to kind of display the whole range that there is. That's why I'm asking. Also, maybe because I don't know if your clients, I call them clients, ask that question, if they kind of or do you have to deal with that issue?
Yeah, actually, we talk a lot about it at the beginning of Manifest because the producers were aware of that competition, but we were like, okay, but anyway, all the producer will send the film to Clermont-Ferrand, so we will just do it for. And I think there is a lot of short film more difficult to work with, and when you have like a huge catalog with a short film that will be premiere in Cannes or Locarno and that kind of short films or festivals, it could help the other short films actually. So I think this is a balance, and as Ben told us, it's a balance about thematic too. I think there is like a competition between French films at one point, because I was in contact with one festival this year, and they told me, okay, I just picked this short film from you because it was a co-production company, and they told me, okay, we had like a lot of French short films, so I cannot take more. So this is why we are looking for international short film now to, not to put all the French short film in concurrence. So yeah.
Yeah, French shorts, and there's a lot of output from France, so it's actually very difficult. Yeah, María, maybe or also a question for all of you, but maybe you can start. So let's say you've made these carefully developed strategies for submissions. You submitted the film to many festivals, and festivals don't pick up the film. What happens then? I mean, I as a filmmaker, I put my trust in you, and then the film does not get picked up. How do you deal with that? Or has it even ever happened?
It happens. It's totally, I mean, like for me, it's normal. The most difficult part is to be selected. And, so then even when the filmmakers are stressed because they didn't got the main prize, for example, I'm always saying that it's not a phrase, but the main prize is to be selected. More when it's a short film, because I mean, your film finally it's in dialogue with a programming. I mean, like and programmers are watching, I don't know, thousands of films. So for me, the most important part is to be selected. Then, I mean, I think we were probably all of us, we were juries, and that it is like super subjective, and it's like three people, trying to connect. It's not so easy to win, but to be selected, it is the main challenge. And happening, but in my case, we are taking it like something like together. I don't feel that it is my responsibility. My responsibility is to send to all the places where I think the film can fit. And I'm always changing the strategy constantly. I think that our work is super creative. Sometimes I have this idea that big festivals for sure, they open a lot of windows. They make the way and the circuit easier, but they are not a warranty. This is very important for me. I had different experiences, like with big festivals that I was thinking, okay, from now on everything is going to be easier, and sometimes it's not. It depends really on the content. It depends also on the country. I have to say that, for example, Brazil, in my case, like I'm from Latin America, and with Latin American films, I don't know, Brazil, they produce a lot of films per year. And I was also working as a programmer, and sometimes it's okay, we have 10 films from Brazil. We have to choose. So also it has to be with that. And so in one point, what I try to be is it's I don't know, super creative, and to make them understand that we are doing the best, and also I have a relation with some programmers and some colleagues that I can send the film, for example, I don't know, out of deadline, because they know my work, or I was already in the festival. But again, it's just a way to, just to put our contents near, but it's not like the formula. Programmers are They watch films from submissions. They are looking for films. They receive like films from us that we are also a filter, and they know our catalog, and they understand that our catalog is sometimes as a programming, a curated programming, smaller. Yes, so my key is to be creative.
I mean, Ben also mentioned a very a keyword actually, which is trust. So, what I think, how does this contribute also to when if the film just doesn't get picked up? I mean, it's not necessarily the film's fault. It might be because there's like 500 films from France or Brazil or whatever. So, how do you then work with the filmmakers? How do you keep the trust going, even though, or also the faith in that the film will eventually maybe get somewhere?
Yeah, I have an example of that. I have several examples of films that were high hopes, and in the end, nothing happened. But there is always alternative ways. The thing which I now did with the specific case, it's the director that I was working with from the very beginning, Philip James McGoldrick. It's a Polish director that lives in London, and his first film was here with Szymiani in 2010, here and in Berlinale, and that's where everything started. So we made a second film, and that second film, yeah, we got funding and stuff, but it took a long time to get some finalization, and in the end, we submitted it with, I don't know, two years in a row with different cuts. Anyway, to cut a long story short, it never got selected. It was shortlisted in basically every festival, but it always was out, which is super frustrating because I was not only the sales but also the producer, and because it was a passion project with the first director that I started with. Anyway, then there is alternative ways, and what we now did, we released it on YouTube, on a big YouTube channel, and now it's getting an audience. That's a different approach, and I'm putting it out there on the streaming platforms where I'm working with. But that's an alternative way, which means that, okay, you can go, and preferably you go to a festival journey, which is very fruitful. But if it's not, it's just about finding the audience. And finding the audience is trying to pinpoint whether it's a specific niche film or a niche channel you need. So it's not so difficult in a way, but you need to know, and you need to also have those lines in order to be able to put it on such a channel, because it's not so probable when the film didn't have a festival success that it's able to become available on such a channel. But only because I work with them exclusively, it's possible. You see, and that's
We're treading into maybe also very important territory now, because what we haven't mentioned yet are the finances. So obviously you don't do this just for fun. Filmmakers, I don't think, make films just for fun, but also it needs to be sustainable. And there's not that much money in short film, as we all know. So putting films on online platforms or selling them after they've maybe had their festival run might be one of the steps for you guys to make some money. But how does it actually work? From the start, what are your, if you can or want to talk about this, what are your financial models? Do the filmmakers pay you a certain amount per month or per year? Do you keep any revenue? Do you keep any shares from awards, from sales? How does it work? How does it work with Manifest? Because
yeah, at Manifest, the filmmakers or producers actually are paying a fee each month for our services to send the film to festival, to take care of material, to the promotion and everything. And with that, we are trying to decide of a budget for the festival submission fee, depending of the strategy. Obviously, if we want to try a lot of American festival or A-list festival, it will be more expensive and everything. And as I told with the submission strategy and everything, we are also trying to change the budget if we need it to the strategy. So yeah, we are making money with this servicing, and with the sales, it's like a commission for Manifest. So it's like a 3-year contract for that part, because like I said, we are trying to get a huge TV channel first, and after that to work with the film or local channels, or second channels in France, and after that with VOD platform and everything. So yeah.
So what would be like the price range if I want to have my film with you? Between what amounts are we talking about per month?
Yeah, it's 45 euros per month. Yeah.
That's not that much. No, because I mean, I don't know what you take, Ben. But
It's all depends. I mean, there is different models, and it all depends on what is possible. How, allez, not only possible. There is, if there is budget, there is many ways how to use that budget. It can be used for submission fees or for strategy fee or in combination. So I can actually not give a specific thing because all contracts are different. There is none of the contracts that I have that is the same because it's always in a mutual agreement, because maybe there is another collaboration inside and there is more than only this film. So okay, here we will input some participation from, but let's say it's always different, but in a similar model. Then when it comes down to the commissions of the sales, there's just like a fee commission of the sale. That's it.
have you ever worked with films for free because you really believed in the project?
Almost all of them.
All right.
Almost all of them. Literally, yeah.
Okay, it's because you have a big heart.
I don't know. Yeah.
Maria, how does it work? What's your? How do you make money? I mean, you guys also have to live, right? I mean, you can't just. I mean, there's submission fees. There's a lot of submission fees. I mean, 45 years a month is not that much. It's not going to pay your rent. So how does it work for you? What's your financial strategy?
As Ben, I mean, like every film, it has different challenges, and it demands different I mean, time of work, and yes, and you can see that it's going to have probably a longer life, you know. So yes, with every film I have different contracts, and yes, I have like a fee for the service, and also I'm taking part of screening fees and sales. But also my films, they sometimes they don't have the profile like commercial, in the sense like to broadcasters and all that. So I don't know. My films are going to sometimes to programs, again, like museums, galleries, like it's another, or libraries, and in those places the incomes are sometimes very interesting. So I can say that I don't know, from prices you ask, no, I'm not getting any part of prices. But when the price it's about distribution, yes, I have one point in my contract, because I had sometimes prices that they are over one like big territory, and it can be like a problem. But yes, it is just very different, and I also sometimes fell in love, and I felt that the film couldn't make it, so we were doing kind of magic. Because yes, I mean, like we are working like a lot of hours, but you know, like this is my project of life, so I spend sometimes no vacations. I mean, and I'm traveling a lot. I'm representing my films everywhere, and it happens also to me that sometimes the filmmakers that they are like, I don't know, for example, from Latin America, and they can come here. I don't know. I'm representing them, and it is not normal to see a sales agent doing Q&As, but I'm doing Q&As. I know a lot my films, and I can defend them like in that way. I would love that my filmmakers could be there, you know, instead of me. But this is sometimes this is the level of my commitment with my films. So it's really it depends of the project. It's a full-time job, you know, like so I think that it has to be like recognized, and also for from festivals and the filmmakers that wants to they want, or they need someone to do this work for them.
You mentioned screening fees, which I guess is another source of income, maybe not great income, but I think screening fees are very important. Not all festivals can afford them, but are you good negotiators? How do you deal with screening fees? I don't know who wants to start. Maybe Maria, you're still on.
Yes, I'm still about negotiate. You said.
Yeah. So do you really? Because I think screening fees are always also a point of negotiation. So festivals can offer a certain amount of screening fees, or sometimes they don't offer at all. Do you then really go in for it? Do you have a minimum of amount of screening fee that you would accept? Do you pull out a film if they don't pay a screening fee? How do you deal with it?
I have to say that I'm kind of flexible because the priority for me is that the films to be shown. That's it. But yes, I'm fighting, to find this recognition to our work, to the work of the filmmakers, and we have some rules now. Since pandemic, this situation of festivals that they want for different reasons to show the film, offline screening plus the online screening. It's like sometimes there are different things, and I can understand, but sometimes I have different fees for this, and I manage the option, or it can be for free, just for the physical. But if you are going online, we can add, and this was something that didn't come from me. The filmmakers were asking, sometimes it's very tough. This point, I feel like Cruella de Vil, in the moment of asking, but it is a way to really to recognize the work of the filmmakers. And sometimes shorts, they don't have a budget, so. But I'm really open, and at the end, the place. Sometimes it's super important to be part of a programming, or the country that is selecting your film, that there is not other way to approach to that audience, so it's super important. So yes, I manage it, but I have some rates that I'm trying to make, I don't know, yes, that people can respect them. But if not, I don't know, if NGO or a cultural center, or I don't know, some people, sometimes also it's super important to get the subtitles, we can't pay for the subtitles. So if the festivals, they can't pay a screening fee to get the subtitles, it's a very important, tool. Once, it happens to me, I don't know, like in places as China, I was super insisting, can I get the Chinese subtitles? And then we showed the film in another festival, Chinese festivals, and it was incredible to offer the subtitles, or sometimes, okay, another thing, it's my priority is that the filmmaker can travel and can attend. In that situation, sometimes it's really like, I waive the fee, please, because it's totally different, the experience. But yes, that is a little bit how I manage. In short films, it's possible to make money. I think that there is a wrong idea. So this, from my experience, it is possible.
Okay, so but what I hear also is that you kind of really represent your filmmakers. So, and I think, do you guys think, maybe also in your direction, is it easier to have a distributor attached to my film so they can actually also negotiate these fees? Because I think, from my experience working for festivals, many filmmakers don't even ask or dare to ask for screening fees, and you guys are basically the person in the middle. So is that an advantage of having a distributor?
Yeah, I think so. I think so, because in my experience, I think I'm very very similar like Maria, because it's the point to show the film. But for example, when you get a request from a random organization somewhere that organizes an event with films that they screen, and they then want to have the film because they're all volunteers, that makes no sense. If you create an event where you show films, the first thing you should think about is paying a screening fee for the films. And it's just to try to, in any other case, there is, let's say, possibility to make a negotiation, like with subtitles, or in priority to make the filmmakers attend, to say, okay, we cannot pay a screening fee, but we can give 2 nights of hotel, and he needs to, or she needs to travel. Fair enough. That's even better than.
But you don't get a share.
No, but that's fine. When the filmmaker can travel and he or she can have that experience, which is important for the project, then it doesn't matter. It also depends what type of film it is and for what type of event, because when it's a retrospective or blah blah, it's all again case by case. But obviously, if you do this as a filmmaker alone, solo, you have no clue, because what's the rate, what's the base rate, what's the minimum, what's the maximum you can ask, how.
I think French, actually, my experience with French distributors is, or also producers, is you're not afraid to ask for higher screening fees. So how does it work for you guys? Because we've had requests for 250 euros of screening fees for a 10-minute film for one screening. So is there maybe also a different approach to this kind of thing in France?
Actually, I don't know, because we talk about that with other French distributor at one point, because I was like, okay, I'm trying to get some screening fee for out of competition program, or as we were saying about the online stuff now, because we are doing the same actually, to say, okay, there is rights for the festival, and there are rights for the online part now. So we are trying to have more recognition for that kind of rights. But I don't know, actually in France there is like a lot of financial help for the producers, and we have like some, they will have some helps if we have like a lot of selection in one kind of festival, for an amount of awards, or for several projection in cinema theaters, that kind of things. So we cannot ask less than, I think it's like 50 euros for one projection. But I would say the main point is to the film has to be seen, so we don't want to say, okay, no, we will not say yes to this selection because you don't have any money, or I don't know. And sometimes it's really important to be part of a festival in one kind of territories, or for a specific program and everything. So we don't want to be too hard with the festivals neither. So
Okay, thank you very much. I'm sure I haven't asked all the questions you want to know, so now maybe it's time to open up the floor to you guys. Do you have any questions? You have a question. Do we need a microphone? Yeah, okay, just wait for the microphone, please. Here in the front.
Hello, thank you for this conference. As a film director, can we be taken seriously if we come to see you guys without having a producer? Because we do our own film, and if I want to shortcut and go directly to distributors, am I going to be taken seriously? And there is two parts in this question, like, when should I come to you? Thank you.
Who wants to start? Maria? Ben is pointing at Maria, so Maria is going to start.
Yes. First of all, most of the people that I'm working, I think that they don't count with the producer. They are filmmaker, producer, editor, everything sometimes. When you have a rough cut, you can send it to a distributor. I mean, like, this is important. We don't need even to see the I mean, in my case, I don't need to see the final color and sound. I can see your film. It's. But if not, when you are in a festival, your premiere, it is a very important moment. Which, I mean, the people that is participating, send invitations, and also try to check to whom you are writing to. I mean, I just manage nonfiction. When someone doing fiction writes to me, it's a problem, because you didn't check on my website, for example. So it is super important that if you are going to approach a distributor, to see if they are managing similar contents as the film you have, just to not lose time, and to I like when someone reach me and it's like, hey, I was on your website, and I think that my film can fit in your catalog. I mean, and they said hi Maria and not hi Paula. So it is the copy and paste. It is fine, but just personalized. I mean, the invitation. But yes, during festivals and during markets and every networking that you can do, it's important. For me, it's fine.
Hello. Yeah. How is it with you guys? Because you work with production companies. Do you also take filmmakers that don't
Yeah.
have a producer? You do.
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, as I say, we received like a lot of short film, but we are trying to see everything and to send an answer to all the filmmaker. But as you say too, we have a connection with specific producers, with filmmaker, with specific programmers. If they or even with TV channels, sometimes they are like, "Oh, I signed for short films with just a filmmaker, and they don't have any distributor, so I will put you in contact." It will be, I will watch the film faster, but we are also trying not to miss a short film that we will like, and when just try not to send the film during like Cannes or during like Clermont-Ferrand, because we receive a lot of okay, we are actually in Clermont-Ferrand, can you see the film and meet me tomorrow? I will be okay, no, we will try to. So yeah, during the
Should I send you the movie right before, I don't know, like mixing sound, or should I send you the movie after I got already one prize into a festival? You know, this is what I mean.
Oh, yeah, okay. So no, at the beginning it's great. Yeah, with the final cut, for example, just to have the right idea of what you want to work with, but it's fine for us to see the film first.
And when I know you go to a lot of pitchings already, like script pitchings. So you probably because you said you like to be attached to a film from the from very very early on. Do you have?
Yeah, I think the only I think everybody already said very similar what for me there's also no problem that you send an email. The only thing that I would say as a tip, when you send an email to any sales, include immediately the link. Don't send an email by here I'm blah blah blah. It's one sentence and a link is more than enough, because basically we will only click the link, watch it, and then reply. And the whole thing before we can do research. So I think it's a bit very obvious, but
Yeah, but because you receive a lot of emails, so
yeah,
you
of
also don't
course.
want to. I mean, go through all this stuff before you see. Any more questions? No, yeah, there's a question there. Microphone, please.
Thank you. Yeah, I have a question about the commission that you take on sales, because, for example, I co-direct and produced my short film, and a distributor is interested, but to me, I feel like the contract is a little bit long and the percentage is a little bit unfair, but I don't know what usually is what is normal in the industry of distribution, because it's my first short film. So do you have any advice on the percentage for the commission and the contract, how long it usually is?
What's your commission? Might be the question.
Yeah, it's 30% for us. And regarding the duration of the contract for the sales is 3 years, and we can sign it again for 3 more years, because sometimes I'm still working with short film from, I don't know, 5 or 6 years for small channels or VOD platform, that kind of stuff.
I wonder why would you feel that that percentage is unfair? I totally.
Well, I can say what the distributor told me. So he told me a contract for 5 years, 30% for the director and 70% for the distributor.
Okay, that's for me. That for me is the opposite.
Yeah, that's why I asked.
And that's
So this is fair to me. What
just to
you,
give you
yeah.
an insight from what the Eurimage regulations are for the qualification of a feature film sales agent. They cannot take more than 25%. So everybody who takes more, I mean, I would like to know who that person is, because that's a person that's destroying our. Allez, come on.
Okay.
What a moron.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I would also be intrigued. Let's talk later. Was there another question? Did you have, yeah.
Hi, and thank you for doing this. I think my question is I'm a little bit usually confused between distributor who handle the submission for festivals and when does the sales or trying to sell the film comes into question. So I always thought the distributor is more than submitting for festivals, and I think a lot of filmmakers, they do things their own, so they are producing their own things and they do submissions. So I guess my question is, do you get approached by films that already doing well in the festival circuit? Do you do sales, just sale deal with them? Does
Maria, you're shaking your head.
Yes, for me, particularly when I'm taking the film, I'm doing everything. I'm doing the strategy, I'm doing the sales. I feel it like a complete work in my case. Okay, it's like I can't separate. And some people, they said, this is my film, started in, I don't know, Sundance, right? It was in all these festivals, and I want to sell it now. For me, it's like if I don't, like, in a way, like the control, or if I couldn't manage everything around the film, it's very complicated for me. I can't enter just to sell it or just to do the alternative distribution. Or I mean, when I'm taking the film, it's like that 5 years and I'm going to do all. But you have people just doing festival strategy, and you have people, doing, say, it's going to depend also the kind of film you have, I think. But my colleagues, maybe they have another like idea. In my case, I take, and I'm doing all.
Yeah, in my case
from
as
the
well.
beginning.
Sorry, Maria. In my case as well, I do. Sorry, it was you. I also try to do everything at the same. I not at the same time, but everything for the film, from strategy till selling and channels and YouTube at the last stage, let's say. But this also could involve, in many cases, pre-sales or pre-buys. And that's only possible because of being involved from the very beginning, because then I try to, for example, Arte, Yle in Finland or Canal Plus to see that they can come on board as a pre-buy. So I don't know if that answered more or less your question.
does a little bit, but does that mean, like, what if the film is in the already starting the second year of festival circulation? Does that even a prospect? Is that something that interests you to get in on board or not?
Yeah, I have to see the film first. I cannot say it depends all on the film. It all depends on the film, and it's not that in the first year. Let's say the first 2 years are crucial for your TV sales or the biggest sales, and that will 9 out of 10 depend on your selections. But that if they don't, even when you have a big selection, that doesn't mean that the film will be sold.
Mhm.
But that doesn't mean that years later a film can be sold to that TV station, because maybe later they do a program of that specific thing. They come back, say, you keep, and then they buy it. First, you start TV, and then you go streaming platforms and spreading it.
So what I'm hearing is, if in doubt, send the film, and even if it has been around, I think, because you can always say no or yes.
Yes.
So we're pretty much out of time. Maybe if there's one more question from you guys, we have maybe time. Do it now. Dare to ask. They're very open. They don't buy it. No? Okay. Anyway, it's gotten past 3 anyway. We had just had 1 hour, so you will also, well, Maria, I don't know if people can reach you on Short Film Wire, probably. No?
No, I'm not, but you can check Kino Rebelde on Google and
Yeah.
to write me.
Yeah, so Kino Rebelde, we had the title on the screen. It's back on the screen, so you can find the contact details there. Ben and Anaïs are here until Thursday or Friday, but definitely now. So if you have any questions that you don't want to ask in the audience but want to catch them now, you can do that, I hope. So thank you for coming. I hope it was a bit informative for you, and see you around in Clermont. Thank you.